Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. That Sugar Book. This book will change the way you think about healthy food by Damon Gameau. A three-part journey through the book's core. Part 1 of That Sugar Book. Imagine doing everything right. You quit junk food. You avoid soft drinks. You choose low-fat, natural, organic, and healthy. You follow the rules we're all told will protect our bodies. And yet, your health begins to fall apart. Your energy crashes. Your waistline expands. Your blood markers worsen. Your mood swings wildly. This is where That Sugar Book begins. Not with sugar-coated theory, but with a bold, unsettling question. What if the foods we trust most are quietly making us sick? Damon Gameau doesn't just write about this idea. He puts his own body on the line to prove it. The dangerous experiment that changes everything. At the start of the book, Gameau is healthy, fit, and active. His blood work is solid. His liver is functioning normally. His weight is stable. He doesn't eat junk food. He doesn't drink soda. He considers himself informed. Then he launches a radical experiment. For 60 days, he consumes a healthy diet, no junk food, no soda, yet increases his sugar intake to average modern levels. The catch? All the sugar comes from foods marketed as good for you. Low-fat yogurt, fruit juice and smoothies, whole grain cereals, muesli bars, flavored milk, spirits drinks, natural snacks, no candy, no chocolate bars, no fast food. Just food that looks clean. What happens next is deeply disturbing. The sugar you don't see is the sugar that hurts you most. Gameau exposes a truth that most people never consider. Sugar isn't dangerous only when it's obvious. It's dangerous when it's invisible. He shows how sugar hides behind dozens of friendly names. Sucrose, fructose, maltodextrin, agave nectar, fruit concentrate. Evaporated cane juice. Different labels. Same metabolic chaos. And here's the shocker. Your body doesn't care if sugar comes from candy or from natural sources. Once inside, it triggers the same hormonal responses, the same fat storage, and the same liver stress. The liver, sugar's silent victim. One of the most gripping sections of Part 1 is Gameau's deep dive into what sugar actually does inside your body, especially fructose. Unlike glucose, which is used by nearly every cell, fructose is processed almost entirely by the liver. And when the liver is overloaded, it converts excess sugar into fat. Fat accumulates in liver cells. Insulin resistance begins. Fat spills into the bloodstream. Triglycerides rise. Inflammation increases. Within weeks of the experiment, Gameau's scans reveal something alarming. He develops fatty liver disease, despite eating healthy. No alcohol. No junk food. Just sugar in disguise. This is not about willpower. This is about biology. The emotional roller coaster nobody warns you about. As the days pass, the changes aren't just physical. Gameau describes sudden mood swings, irritability, brain fog, anxiety, energy crashes after meals. He begins craving sugar even more, despite knowing what it's doing to him. This is one of the book's most powerful revelations. Sugar doesn't just feed your body. It hijacks your brain. It stimulates dopamine, the same reward pathway activated by addictive substances. Over time, your brain demands more sugar just to feel normal. You're not weak. You're wired. Low fat, the most dangerous label of all. Part 1 exposes one of the greatest nutrition myths of modern times. When fat was removed from food, sugar was added to make it palatable. The result? Foods that spike insulin, meals that never satisfy, constant hunger, fat storage instead of fat burning. Gameau shows how the obsession with low-fat eating didn't make us healthier. It made us sicker and heavier. The enemy wasn't fat. The enemy was sugar, quietly replacing it. The industry that doesn't want you asking questions. As part 1 unfolds, the book shifts from personal experiment to cultural awakening. Gameau begins asking uncomfortable questions. Why is sugar allowed in foods marketed to children? Why are health claims permitted on high-sugar products? Why does nutrition labeling make sugar so hard to understand? The answers lead to a disturbing realization. The food industry thrives on confusion. If people truly understood how much sugar they were eating, many products would disappear overnight. The cliffhanger: a body in decline. By the end of part 1, the results of the experiment are undeniable. Significant weight gain, increased waist circumference, elevated blood pressure, dangerous changes in cholesterol, early signs of metabolic dysfunction. And remember, this is happening without junk food. Gameau's doctor delivers a warning that lands like a punch to the gut. If this continues, the damage may not be reversible. Part 2 of that sugar book. If part 1 cracked the illusion of healthy food, part 2 smashes it completely. Because Damon Gameau now realizes something chilling. This isn't just about his body anymore. It's about an entire system designed to normalize disease. The experiment continues, but the focus widens from one man's liver to a global epidemic hiding in plain sight. From personal damage to a public health disaster. Gameau steps back and asks a devastating question. If sugar can derail a healthy adult in 60 days, what is it doing to children who consume it daily? The answer unfolds through interviews with doctors, scientists, and public health experts who all echo the same warning. We are facing a sugar-driven health crisis on a scale never seen before. Childhood obesity rates exploding, type 2 diabetes appearing in teenagers, fatty liver disease diagnosed in children, tooth decay becoming the most common chronic disease in kids. This is not about overeating. This is about overexposure. The schoolyard experiment, where addiction begins. One of part 2's most unsettling sections takes us into the world of children's food. Marketing. Gameau reveals how. Bright packaging masks extreme sugar levels. Cartoon characters build brand loyalty before children can read. Fruit-based snacks often contain more sugar than candy. School lunches quietly reinforce sugar dependence. And here's the cruel irony. Children are often consuming more sugar than adults, while their bodies are still developing. The book makes it painfully clear. Sugar addiction doesn't start with choice. It starts with exposure. The myth of just burn it off. A common defense of sugar is simple. As long as you're active, sugar isn't a problem. Part 2 dismantles this belief with surgical precision. Gameau explains that exercise burns glucose, not fructose. Fructose still overloads the liver, even in athletes. You cannot outrun insulin resistance. Physical activity doesn't cancel metabolic damage. Sugar isn't fuel in the traditional sense. It's a metabolic disruptor. This is why even fit, active people can develop fatty liver disease, hormonal imbalances, and chronic inflammation. The beverage track. Sugar in liquid form. If solid food sugar is dangerous, liquid sugar is catastrophic. Gameau dives into fruit juice, smoothies, sports drinks, and flavored waters, products widely seen as good choices. Here's the problem. Liquids don't trigger fullness. Sugar hits the bloodstream faster. The liver absorbs fructose in large doses. Insulin spikes repeatedly throughout the day. The book exposes a brutal truth. Drinking sugar is the fastest way to break your metabolism. A single healthy smoothie can contain the sugar equivalent of multiple cans of soda, without the fiber that slows absorption. Big Food's playbook: confuse, delay, deny. Part 2 pulls back the curtain on how the food industry responds to criticism. The strategy is eerily familiar. Fund conflicting research. Emphasize personal responsibility. Shift focus to exercise instead of diet. Create doubt instead of clarity. Gameau draws parallels to tobacco companies of the past, not because sugar is identical, but because the behavior is identical. When profit is threatened, truth becomes negotiable. Why labels lie without lying. Another powerful section reveals how nutrition labels can be technically accurate, yet deeply misleading. Sugar listed under multiple names. Serving sizes unrealistically small. Serving sizes, no added sugar, hiding fruit concentrates. Health claims distracting from real content. Gameau emphasizes, if you need a chemistry degree to understand a food label, the system is broken. The human cost behind the numbers. Part 2 slows down to show the emotional reality behind the statistics. Families confused and overwhelmed, parents blamed for problems they didn't create, doctors treating symptoms instead of causes, people doing everything right and still getting sick. This is where the book becomes more than science. It becomes personal. Because sugar doesn't just steal health. It steals confidence, clarity, and trust. The midpoint revelation. By now, Gameau understands something profound. This isn't about eliminating sugar completely. It's about understanding it honestly. The danger isn't the occasional treat. The danger is daily, hidden, normalized consumption, especially when it's sold as healthy. And just when the weight of the problem feels overwhelming, Part 2 ends with a shift in tone. A question of hope. Part 3 of That Sugar Book. By the time we reach Part 3, one thing is undeniable. Sugar is no longer invisible. Damon Gameau has seen what it did to his body. He's uncovered how it shapes childhood habits, corporate behavior, and global health. Now comes the most important question of all. What do we do about it, without fear, obsession, or extremism? Part 3 is where That Sugar Book transforms from a warning into a roadmap. The experiment ends, the truth remains. As Gameau concludes, his 60-day experiment, the results are final and sobering. NP, his weight has increased noticeably. P, his waistline has expanded. P, his cholesterol and triglycerides are elevated. P, his insulin sensitivity has declined. P, his liver shows clear signs of fat accumulation. P, and this happened without junk food. P, the doctor's verdict is simple and alarming. P, if this diet continued, long-term disease would be likely. P, but here's the hope. Once sugar intake is reduced, the body begins to recover. P, this matters deeply because it proves something essential. P, damage is not destiny. P, the recovery, proof that change works. When Gameau removes excess sugar and returns to whole, unprocessed foods, the shift is dramatic. P, energy stabilizes, cravings decrease. P, mood evens out. P, liver markers improve. P, hunger becomes trustworthy again. P, the body, it turns out, wants to heal. It just needs clarity instead of confusion. It's not no sugar, it's no sugar. One of Part 3's most powerful messages is balance. Gameau is careful not to promote fear or food guilt. Instead, he reframes the conversation. Sugar isn't evil, but ignorance is dangerous. The goal is not elimination. The goal is awareness, context, and frequency. A slice of cake at a celebration is not the problem. A healthy breakfast loaded with hidden sugar every single day is. The simple rules that change everything. Part 3 offers practical, grounded principles anyone can follow without becoming obsessive. 1. Eat foods close to their natural state. If it looks like it grew, walked, or swam, your body understands it. 2. Beware of liquid sugar. Drink water. Eat fruit. Liquids bypass the body's natural braking system. 3. Read labels like a detective. The shorter the ingredient list, the safer the choice. Multiple sugar names equals a red flag. Fat is not the enemy. Healthy fats increase satiety and stabilize blood sugar. Sugar spikes it. Trust your hunger again. When sugar drops, appetite becomes honest. These are not diet rules. They're biological truths. The role of parents, schools, and society. Gameau expands the lens once more, this time toward responsibility. He argues that individuals alone cannot fix a system designed to confuse them. Parents need honest labeling. Schools need better food standards. Governments need courage to regulate. Companies need accountability. This isn't about control. It's about protection, especially for children who cannot choose their exposure. Why education is more powerful than willpower. One of the book's final insights is quietly profound. People don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're misinformed. Once you understand how sugar works, cravings lose their power. Healthy labels lose their spell. Food becomes a choice again, not a trap. Knowledge doesn't restrict you, it frees you. The emotional shift from fear to empowerment. Part 3 closes on a hopeful note. Gameau doesn't ask you to fear food. He asks you to see it clearly. When sugar is no longer hidden, you eat with confidence. You enjoy treats without guilt. You protect your health without obsession. Food becomes nourishment again, not a negotiation. The final message. That sugar book ends with a truth that lingers long after the last page. The most dangerous sugar is the one you don't know you're eating. And once you know, you can never unknow it. But more importantly, you can finally choose. Why this book changes everything. This isn't a diet book. It's not a rule book. It's not an attack on pleasure. It's a wake-up call, delivered through science, story, and lived experience. And once you've listened to all 3 hearts, you don't just eat differently, you think differently. About food, about health, about the stories we're sold every day. And that is the real transformation. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries.